Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Ugly Pirates win last night. Got a little bit of lag time with the Steelers before they open their season in Atlanta. Do want to talk about some Oneil Cruz stuff, by the way, on the Pirates end, but actually wanted to lead today's episode off with a little college talk in Heather Lyke. The news peg being Pat Kraft at Penn State, receiving a contract extension, 8 years, $2.26 million per year, running through June 30th, 2032, plus $350,000 in available performance incentives. Great for Patrick Kraft. It shifted the discussion in my mind to Heather Lyke. In the lead of it, they can't let her leave, right? This has to continue. I hope it continues. I think Heather Lyke has done wonderful things for Pitt, but it does worry me, at least based on publicly available information, what's happening here. So back in May of 2018, she signed a 6-year deal. So theoretically, that would be up after this year. I do know that, sometimes that stuff gets done privately. You kick the can, add a year, etc. That's why I'm saying what we know publicly is that, she only has about 4 more months left on the job. And I really hope that does not turn out to be the case. Obviously, former Chancellor Patrick Gallagher negotiated that extension or gave that extension to Lyke, or they came up with it, however you want to phrase that. New Chancellor Joan Gable is in charge of this one. Now, again, if I'm running Pitt, I don't know how you let Heather Lyke get away, given what she's done. Look at, and Noah Hiles did this last year. I thought it was an excellent story. The 6 years before Heather Lyke arrived at Pitt and what it's been since then. I mean, night and day. Talk about winning more, establishing a culture, organizing the athletic department, raising money, everything you could possibly want. I believe a record $75 million over the past 3 fiscal years. The Panther Club, I saw this number yesterday researching her first year, 88.56, 15.761 last year. And I'm guessing those numbers have gone up since. I mean, Heather Lyke has done everything you would want in a college administrator. She's done it very well and deserves to stay here with a contract that, is fair market value. And she deserves to have the resources to take Pitt athletics to the next step. The Victory Heights Project, I included that in the column. I think it's very important. It should be a stepping stone, right? You're going to have indoor track and field space. How about outdoor track and field space? Keep building, keep adding, compete on a national level, because you should be able to. You should be able to. And I think that's what Heather Lyke wants. I think she probably wants convinced that that's going to happen here. I think it's in the best interest when Pitt, if you have somebody who's smart enough to guide that sort of project, and you want to give them the resources to compete. So anyway, it was sort of comparing those situations. I will urge you to check it out. I do have some other things I want to get to on this podcast, though, so I don't want to spend too much time there, although I certainly could. Pirates-wise, last night was brutal, wasn't it? 8 stolen bases, I think the Cubs finished with. Just a ton. It's amazing. Yeah. 8 stolen bases, their most since September 17th, 1911. 21 hits allowed, the most by the Pirates this season. Domingo Germán, 8 earned runs in the 6th. Probably not good when Rowdy Tellez is pitching for the second time in 3 days. Don't love that. The Pirates need to get it going. I don't know how you can look at this and realistically start talking about competing, but I get, this year, meaning somehow sneaking into the wild card. Maybe if you would have, run through the Cubs, have a good season against the Guardians. I don't know. It's a flimsy argument. You're looking for individual things, which you're going to see out of Jared Jones tonight. An important start. He's been sidelined with a grade 2 right lat strain since July 3rd. His most recent start in AAA Indianapolis, struck out 10 over 5 shutout innings. I'll be really curious to see what happens with Jones. And I think it's going to be an interesting Pirates storyline, too, to see where this goes the rest of the way. Because Jones, he's thrown 102 innings, 24.2 shy of his career high as a professional. And the Pirates have talked about the importance of him finishing the season with the big club, which they should, sort of like Paul Skeens. Now, they're going to forfeit a year of service time. Remember that he was up at the very beginning, continued to add service time or accrue service time. Is he going to continue to do that? I mean, he should. That should be the easy situation. Keep him with the big team, allow him to make those starts. If it 102 innings, 24.2 away from his professional high, you're going to exceed it a little. Like, he should not have an innings problem here. He should benefit from pitching with the big club and gaining that experience. I just hope they don't send him down or do something goofy and try to preserve a year of service time. But the Pirates are clicking into some interesting places here. I will agree with that. Jones starting tonight is going to be one. He will be caught by Henry Davis, of course. Henry Davis needs to show that he can hit with any consistency at the major league level. He's crushed pitching AAA, AA, all that. We just haven't seen it in the major leagues. Nick Gonzalez back as well. Going to be curious to see what he's been out since July 27th with his groin injury. So what happens to him? I don't know. But I think long-term, the Pirates would obviously like to have him nail down the second base spot. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at shortstop. And, well, the big change from yesterday. Going to get into that. I have some thoughts on how the Pirates handled that. But first, a message from our sponsor, the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
And welcome back to First 10. I am, of course, your host, Jason Mackey. You're stuck with me every day, 5 days a week on here. A shorter version podcast than our typical ones, about 10 minutes on a given day. So, all right, I wanted to pivot Pirates topics and give my thoughts on Oneil Cruz and how the Pirates went about switching his position. The timing, it's kind of funky to me. I have no issue with moving Oneil Cruz's position. I would have done it this offseason. I do think it's a sensitive subject. Derek Shelton and Ben Cherington kind of alluded to that, said Cruz was not thrilled with it. That does not shock me, given some of the conversations that I've had with people, including Oneil, back in 2022. I remember I was in Indianapolis. It was May of 2022, and they were kind of tinkering with the outfield stuff, and he said very plainly, and I still have the recording in English, I don't want to play the outfield. And that caused a bit of a fuss, more them than me. But, I don't think he has loved this situation. Now, is this the best thing for him? Yes, I think so. Is this the best thing for the Pirates? Yes, I think so. I agree with most of what Cherington and Shelton said yesterday, where saying basically we're getting our best players on the field. We think Oneil's going to grow to love it. He's a baseball player. Yes, he thinks about shortstop, but he also wants to win. All of that stuff is true. The way the Pirates are best constituted, it involves Oneil Cruz in the outfield and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at shortstop. And I've said this a lot. If they're built around pitching, you need sure-handed people up the middle. I don't know how I feel about Oneil in center field. That's one of the funky things to me. There's a lot of responsibility there. There's a lot of feel that you need playing center field, especially at PNC Park. You want him to run and go get balls. You also don't want him to cause collisions with the left and right fielder. There's nuance to playing the position. Balls hit right at you, playing off of the wall. Not that that stuff doesn't exist in the corner spots, but I would argue that it's a little bit more important in center field than maybe it is in right field. Now, that being said, again, I can't quibble too much with center field over right field. The issue I have with it is the timing, and I don't love that. I don't understand it, and I don't love it. A week ago, Ben Cherington went out on his radio show, or a week and a half, whatever you want to say, on his radio show and said that Oneil Cruz is our shortstop. He's a shortstop. He's our shortstop. What the heck happened between then and now that you change his position? I don't get that. And even if you are having those discussions, I'd give a little bit more of a vanilla answer. It's like we evaluate that stuff all the time. Those are active discussions with Oneil and Shelty and in our defensive group. And, we're always looking to put the best product on the field. We know Cherington can talk around certain things. He's capable. But he came out and said he's our shortstop. A week later, he is not. So that's the clunky part. The potentially dangerous part, and what I don't like about this, is doing this to Oneil. Now, this is an ask. I'm not of the camp that players should be coddled and I need to worry about your feelings. It's okay. No, I'm not there. But where I am at with it is wanting this to work. I want the best possible outcome here. If I'm running the Pirates, if I'm making this decision, they will look at this, and they have, say, we want to use the balance of this season to get a head start on this, to evaluate it, to get Oneil Cruz comfortable. I don't like it. I wouldn't do it. I'd wait until the offseason. I don't think you're putting the player in a position to succeed. You talk about a player-centric culture or doing things, that are to the benefit of the player. How does changing his position a week after you said his position was going to be the same and then dumping him in a spot where he probably doesn't want to play and has only played sparingly? I think he's only played the outfield 10 times in AAA, if I'm not mistaken, and that was left field, not center. They're different positions. What if it goes wrong? What if Oneil Cruz has a bunch of problems figuring out center field? What if he loses confidence? Then it affects his work at the plate. What if he has 30 crappy games out there and has to think about that the entire offseason? I would have looked at this and said, Oneil, even you can have the conversation now. I'm fine with that. But I would look at it and say, in the offseason, say, Oneil, Fernando Tatis Jr. did this. It really worked out well for him. He won a Gold Glove in the outfield. He's an elite player. You can be that and more. And he absolutely could. We are going to give you this offseason to get acclimated with the outfield. We will give you every resource you need. However we can help, however you want to do this, let's work together and make this thing productive because we think this is the best thing for you. We think this is the best thing for the Pirates. And allow them to be mad a little bit. That's fine. Go be mad for a week. Call me on Monday. That's how I would have approached it. Let him get it out, but ultimately his head should come around to this is the best thing for everybody. And you count on him to be a team player, but you also support him in how to do it right. I just don't understand randomly taking a guy from shortstop to center field, and they're probably going to do it within a couple days, where he has little familiarity, little desire, little comfortability, and we're just going to hope it works. I don't like that. That worries me. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Oneil Cruz takes to it, and it's absolutely fantastic, and we can watch this podcast and laugh about how stupid Mackey is. But I am paid to give my reactions and opinions on things, so I'm more than happy to do it. Anyway, make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of these videos. They're typically 10 minutes unless I run over, which I have the past 2 days, so I'm sorry about that. You can get all the stuff from me, from our other Post-Gazette writers and columnists. Be back here same time, same place tomorrow. Thank you for watching First 10.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.